All right. Today I'm going to be working on a Nintendo controller. Guessing if you're looking at this video, you probably know what this is. There we go. So, if you've ever had something like this happen, I'm going to give this a shot and try to fix that. So, I'll start by taking this apart. And on the back, you'll notice some screws. Got a tiny little screwdriver here. So that's what it looks like inside of the controller. You have your wire here. I'm just going to pull it out. It just weaves right around those. Careful not to break anything. Pull this out. And on the other side you have your printed circuit board. Nothing special here. And the buttons. So let's get rid of that. This is what we're really concerned with here. Now the best way to fix something like this is to use heat shrink tubing, which I have. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to get the heat shrink around this. Now that's going to be difficult. So if you don't have heat shrinking, or you don't have access to anything like that, you could just use electrical tape and wrap this up. But I have heat shrink tubes, so I may just try putting this around and then seeing if the heat shrink works. But what I'm going to do is actually desolder this. Make sure they're labeled white, orange, red, brown, yellow. I'm going to desolder these and then try to sneak my heat shrink tubing in there. And then we'll solder it back together and it should be good as new. We have the wires all exposed. I'm going to grab some electrical tape here and just start wrapping up this area where it's come apart. I want to keep it nice and tight because we already know it's going to be a tight fit with that heat shrink tubing. There. Now I'm just going to slide down this heat shrink tubing. It's going to be a bit tight, so just work it down a little bit at a time. And most importantly, just make sure it covers the entire area that I just worked over. And that about does it. There. Now that I'm satisfied with the location, now it's time to heat it up. As you can see, it covers the area nicely. I'm going to grab this small butane torch that I have. Now you don't want to let it on fire, you just need to get it hot enough so that it starts to shrink, and you can see where it's shrinking. It's hard to see on camera, but when you're doing it in person, you'll be able to see it quite easily. And you just want to make sure you cover the entire way around. Make sure you heat up all sides. And when you see it stopped shrinking, you're done. There. Looks good. Now it's time to start putting it back together. There. Well, that's difficult for me. I had a bad reaction to an anxiety medication I took a few years ago, and now I have shaky hands. So soldering is super difficult when your hands are going crazy. But I mean, I can still do it, I guess. It's hilarious to watch. And we're just going to snake this around just like it was in there before. This time it's going to be a little harder. But that will still go. Not too concerned over that. There. The electrical tape made it quite a tight fit, but there you are. Good as new. She's nice and clean, ready to go, and that looks a lot better than it did before. Thanks for watching.